Welcome to Mo Sports Gananoque, folks. This week we're going to adopt the philosophy of when on the St. Lawrence, do as the St. Laurentians do, and that's, folks, get on the river. We met up with Canadian Muskie Association Gananoque Chapter President Rob McCrae and former President Jim Hutchings, and we took it all in. We launched the boat, we chose our rods, we looked at lures, discussed that, and we got out in the river. Let's have a listen and see how these two guys are helping to preserve the ecology of the St. Lawrence River through this Muskie Canada's Gananoque chapter. Hey folks, I'm with Rob McCrae, current chair of the Muskie Gananoque Society, and former chair Jim Hutchings. Hey Jim, let's talk to you first. How did you get your start in fishing?
Mainly through my father. He had an interest in fishing, so probably started at an early age, about 10 or 11, going on little day trips, then later on camping trips, and then eventually we got a cottage on the Kawartha Lake, so spent a lot of time up there.
And so when you came to Brockville with a job change, then how did you get hooked in with the Muskie organization?
I'd been a former member before. I joined actually in 1979, me and my wife, sort of thing, when we were still living in the Toronto area. And then I just rejoined back up here. So. And
then you just felt the need to be the chair, or you just were so involved that you became the chair kind of thing?
Yeah, I got more and more involved again. I was on the national executive of Muskie Canada, which represents all the chapters sort of thing, back in the 1980s. So the chairman's position fell open. The guy sort of retired off it, and I sort of filled in for a number of years.
So you passed it off to Rob, but here we are with Rob. Rob, tell me a bit about your start in fishing in general.
We moved to the region back in 1964. It was just on the west side of Kingston, a little town called Amersfoort. And as I started to grow up, probably before 1970, my dad used to allow me to walk down to the beach with a bucket of worms and a fishing pole and let me fish all day long. He knew where I was back in the days when it was okay. I've been on the water ever since. It's when I say regionally, you know, we take a look at the Kingston area, Bay of Quinte area, in around Wolfe Island. You have to bear with me.
Yeah, I know. It's good. It's all good. It's all good.
So I joined the forces, I guess, early 80s. And I kind of left the region. So when I say I left the region, I was very familiar with the waterways, the Brothers Islands, Snake Islands, and things like that. And I came back 25 years later. What happened out of that is me taking my daughter out fishing to go to all my old fishing haunts. And there was some very significant changes that had happened. For myself, I didn't know what to do. They weren't good changes, they were very bad changes. So what we had to do was, I wanted to find a way to get involved, and as a serving member of the forces, the Muskies Canada group was allowing people that were serving to join for free. So this is where I kind of got in, got introduced, and then got involved.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's groups like this that sort of, with like governmental organizations and stuff like that, help kind of preserve the waterways? Is that kind of...
I would say Muskies Canada was mandated what was it, Noble Beast. It started as a grassroots program in Toronto a very long time ago. It called Noble Beast and evolved to Muskies Canada the way we see it today.
But do you guys advocate to governmental organizations to preserve certain wildlife or whatever? Like, is that...
We run a program. Jim's been involved in a program here since 2005. We call it a muskie seining program. It's in partnership with Parks Canada. Basically, we do nearshore survey, and that seining program, you go to different areas, you pull nets and you count the fish, take a look at the ground you're pulling them off of, and it's standardized. You hit the same areas approximately the same time every year, and you see what's happening in the waterway over time.
So you'd say this Muskie organization is a vital organization for the whole ecology of the St. Lawrence River then, basically?
Absolutely.
Well, and all other waterways in Canada. We're here on the St. Lawrence.
The St. Lawrence, it requires a lot of attention because there's been so many significant changes in the last, I'm going to say, few decades. That's recent history, but as soon as they put the seaways in, things began to change quite substantially. In its management, what's nice is it's not just Canada, it's the US, and they work in partnership together to help maintain the waterways, help maintain the fishing industry, sport fishing,
So that's awesome. Let's talk about sport fishing. Let's talk about the big muskie competition. I know there's billboards in Gananoque of who's won each year of the biggest muskie caught. Tell us a bit about that sort of tradition.
I think Jim would be best to answer
Perfect.
that.
Let's talk. Jim, talk about the muskie competition in Gananoque.
I would have probably started around 2005 or so, I believe. 2004, 2005. It's just a general idea among our chapters that we need to work with the town of Gananoque because muskie's a very important fish in this region. That's it. So we started up, and the biggest fish every year with a formula we use to measure approximate weight, so length and girth. And the biggest fish gets their name on the board every year. So
now that big fish caught by the duck guy, what's his name?
BoatDave.
BoatDave and his company. The one that's hanging in Muskie Jake's, like, is that one of the ones from the competition, or is that just a big fish that's there?
That's a big fish was there. That fish died on them, unfortunately. They tried to release it.
Okay.
Get it going again, so they kept it and had it mounted, but to get on the board, you have to have the largest release of the year, so it has to be released.
Okay, so that isn't officially a release one then. Okay, cool. So yeah, you talk about catch and release, and we're doing that to preserve sort of the amount of fish in the area, right?
Yeah, that's correct there. We've had, we've gone from highs to lows sort of thing. Up until 2005, the fishery was great. Then they had a major die-off in the river due to a virus introduced, perhaps through Great Lake shipping, but it killed over half the adult muskellunge population,
wow.
they estimate. So. And I guess we've been monitoring the fishery ever since, trying to see if we get a recovery going. So.
Well, listen, folks, this has been a great interview. This is both Jim and Rob, and they are our Gan Athletes of the Week. Let's hear it for them. Folks, what a great morning it was on the river. We didn't catch anything. However, this was part of a charity event put on by BoatDave's daughter in order to support to the Big Brothers and Sisters Associations. Let's have a listen and check in on this charity event. BoatDave is a Gananoque legend for muskie fishing. It was he who noticed something wrong with the fish and brought it to the attention of the researchers, who were so grateful. He was the curator of the Canadian record holding fish, which is located at Muskie Jake's in Gananoque. The event this weekend would end Sunday night down at that same pub. What stuck with me was the congeniality and the support within this fraternity. All these fishermen shared stories, many of that which included BoatDave. This would be his last muskie ever caught, fish ever caught for that matter, November 2018. He would learn and to succumb to cancer in March of 2019. It was a successful event. No one would take home this trophy, as not one muskie was caught this weekend. But the generosity and collegiality certainly was. Well, folks, what an awesome weekend it was. You got to get down to Gananoque and do some fishing. And then you got to stop by Muskie Jake's Bar and Grill to have a bite to eat, maybe a drink, but also to enjoy some rich history on the walls down at the pub. So, folks, until next time, whether you're on the sport train, in the bleachers, #MoSportsGananoque, or you're on the St. Lawrence River trolling for that ever-elusive muskie catch, you better be there or be square.